Good evening, folks. It's Carl here. Welcome to the first collab of the second semester, ENTP 7312W, or Entrepreneurship 3B. You guys have been on quite a journey, and we're now getting to the end of this journey with this last semester for many of you. I'm going to just take you through a couple of quick administrative things. I want to highlight one or two things about the course. And then I'm going to go into parts of the first learning unit. I'll also, I've decided this semester to instead of having these longer classes and keep you busy, because I know very few of you tend to attend these, I'm going to try to make shorter recordings, more shorter recordings for you. So I will try to, during the weeks, make shorter recordings of the key. There's, for example, I think at least 2, maybe 3 different things in this first learning unit that I'm not going to deal with tonight, but that I will deal with in shorter recordings. And then I want to see if that, if I can attract you guys to come to the classes to rather ask questions and so on of me, rather than me just sitting here and making a recording every time that we're supposed to be having interaction. If you've got any ideas on that or any feelings about that, please email me. As always, my email's on the screen. Please drop me a mail. The best and easiest way of getting hold of me is always through my email address at Varsity College, rather than through the online platform. It's just that is open all the time. I have to go into the platform to check for emails there. So you're more likely to get hold of me. Yeah. As always, if you don't hear from me within 24 hours, drop me a second email, say, Carl, hey, what's going on? I've dropped you an email, I've asked you a question. Please help me. I need to know. What are we going to look at in this module? So in this module, we're going to specifically look at entrepreneurial opportunities. You towards the end of your studies now, many of you will be saying, well, I'm now ready, I want to start a business. Those of you that haven't possibly started one already. And how do I then take this business? How do I identify a business, run this business, expand this business, especially within our context of an emerging economy, an economy that's growing, an economy that hopefully keeps on expanding. And yes, so we're going to look at a couple of things around this. Thankfully, the prescribed book remains the same. Our dear friends, Mr. and Mrs. Neck, as well as Murray. There are Learning Unit 5 and 6 has got a bunch of articles that you have to utilize. If you go to the more resources, you'll find Learning Unit 5, Learning Unit 6 there. I've already uploaded those articles for you, so you don't have to go look for the articles. You can simply download them from more resources. Under more resources, you'll also see the ICE tasks. They have not been loaded yet. I'm looking at various options for the ICE tasks. I did a course today, and I'm hoping to do 2 more to look at the different ways of looking at ICE tasks and assessing your ICE tasks to try to give you better feedback. And I'm going to see if I can roll that out a bit. In terms of talking ICE tasks, in terms of marks and how our assessment works, there we go. A lot of information on the page, but I'll take you through it quickly. I've spoken about ICE. ICE is always 10% of your mark. And guys, please do your ICE. I see so many students in various subjects that struggle to pass, that need to write a sub or something, and 9 times out of 10, they've not done their ICE tasks. So please, guys, go do your ICE tasks, and do me a favor as well. Do them earlier in the semester. I will give you a hint about which ICE tasks you need to do for when, simply because the ICE tasks are supposed to be curriculum engagement. In other words, they're supposed to help you with your assignments and so on. And I try to choose the ICE tasks specifically for that. Now you've done the assignment and everything, you get right at the end of the semester and then you say, oh, I quickly need to do those 4 ICE tasks out of the 6 that Carl has given me. You're not doing yourself a favor. Rather do them earlier. In terms of the assignment, there's an assignment, and a POE. So no exam. You're not going to sit down on campus and write. The Assignments cover learning units 1 to 3, 3 to 4, and then all the learning units at the end. These are longer type assignments, similar to what we've done in the first semester. A key thing that you need to keep in mind, we're still working with the 17 Millennium Development Goals. You still have to come up with an idea and everything. And before you say, yeah, I've got this done, let's just look at the next slide. 18 September, 10 October, 7 November. As of now, you need to check your PAS. You know how PAS has changed. Just make sure that you've got the dates right. But here's the thing. You're going to have to come up with a product or a service to address one of those Millennium Development Goals. You cannot use any of your ideas from last semester. You also cannot use an app, right? So please, let's understand that. Let's be clear on it. I will mention this again when we get to our assessment brief, which I've only just seen the dates today. So if you look under, once again, more resources, there's a pacer for you. That pacer was draft 1. I'm going to have to adapt that pacer to see where I can fit in our briefs for these assessments. I haven't got the pacer open in front of me, but I can tell you now, the 18th September one, I will try to do in a month from now, so around about the 1st of September, that you've got enough time to do that. What does concern me is 18 September, 10 October. That's a 3-week period. So I'm going to have to, my turnaround time on that 18 September one is going to have to be quite quick. And then we go October, November, where I'll also have to have a turnaround. The argument when I query these dates, which I have done in the past, because I've said you can't just give me 3 weeks in between, has been that you don't need the second part you don't need the first part's feedback for the second part to work. I tend to disagree, because if your first one is a horrible idea and I can see it won't work for the last part, then I need to tell you that so you can come up with a new idea. So I'm going to try to do that as soon as possible after the 18th of September, the hand-in, to get that information back to you, so you guys will be okay and be able to adapt if you need to for the 10th of October. Okay. If you've got questions about this, please drop me an email. If it's a big question or something that I feel I need to share with the rest of the group, I will share it with the rest of the group. I will tell them, I will put out a quick video or quick recording and tell you guys, hey guys, just go listen to this recording. But yes, that's the admin. You guys know your way around the block. This is not your first rodeo. So let's move on. Let's have a look at Learning Unit 1. Let's have a look at what's going to happen in Learning Unit 1. And Learning Unit 1 is Chapter 3, Creating and Recognizing New Opportunities. If I just scroll up, if we look at the key module objectives, we look at that identified part there right at the beginning, key part of the module objectives, and we start immediately with that by saying creating and recognizing new opportunities. As always, there are modules. Each learning unit and module has an outcome. So have a look at the outcomes. Make sure that you understand the outcomes. Make sure that you look in Nick and Murray and that you trace those outcomes. Those of you that may not have the textbook, you're going to have to make a plan, because many of these things that I'm going to talk about now are very specific ideas, and the assignment questions speak to these things, and there is no other answer except Nick and Murray's answer. We're going to end the night with ideate, and ideate is a specific thing. You could find it in other places, but Nick and Murray is the best place to look for it. You can take it off these slides. You can take it out of here and see if you can make sense from there, but the best is to have the textbook available. So we're going to do identify opportunities. What is an opportunity? There's 3 central characteristics of an opportunity, and you'll see this theme coming through as you read through the chapter, as you work through the chapter. It'll keep on coming through. The potential economic value. So An opportunity is only opportunity if you can make money. If that, whatever the opportunity is, whatever you do, if that's going to add value for you, if it's going to make more money, it's going to make your organization worth more. You're going to be able to see how the money that you put in and the money that you get out differs. There's more coming out than what you put in. That's economic value. That is why we have entrepreneurship. It's a key. One of the central tenets of entrepreneurship is adding economic value. Novelty and newness. We could flip a coin on this one. Some will argue that it's not really always necessary, but novelty and newness are two different things. Novelty is having something that is attractive to people. Newness is something new. So it's not necessary that it's always something new, but it's something different. You might have taken an old idea and switched it around. I'll use the old example. Electric coffee makers have been around since the 1960s, but the pod coffee maker has only been around recently. It's a newer invention. It's a new way. In the old school, some of you might remember the old school coffee machines. They had a pot at the bottom. You threw the coffee in the top. You forked it out of it, and there was water that ran through it. Now with the pod, it's a pressurized system. Gives you much better coffee, better flavor, etc. If you believe all the marketing. And then the third point is the perceived desirability. As entrepreneurs, when we see an opportunity, we must say, will this be desirable? In other words, will people want to buy this? And now if you look at those 3 points, you'll see that actually potential economic value is not going to happen if there's not desirability. Desirability will not happen if it's not novel and new. So they interwoven, and it's not things that we must see as totally independent, as not speaking to each other, and 3 separate pillars. These 3 pillars hold up one roof. Remove one of the pillars and the roof comes tumbling down. So what is an opportunity? Generating value. So there's an opportunity, something that could generate you value. It can give you more money. It could make your company. And I keep saying generating more money. Money comes in many forms. It can include. Value isn't necessarily just money. It can be something that expands your customer base. So if you've got a specific client base, you sell motor cars, and suddenly you start saying, "Well, I'm now also going to service motor cars." Right? That expands the customer base, because not only will you service the cars of the people that you sold to, other people may also come to you. Your customer base has grown. That has created new value for you. And this is the value is created through things like products, services, or processes that you do. And there's the story I just said about value. Read through those 3 values. That was just to give me an opportunity to take a sip of my cup of tea. So that economic value is what I've spoken about. Social value, something that makes the people that live in your area, in your stakeholder community, something that adds to their social value. And then environmental value, something that we do to make our environment better, or to protect our environment from further danger. And the social value and the environmental value becomes very important when we start talking about the MDGs, and when we start looking at your assignment and we bring up those 17 things again. Remember from last semester, keep those in the back of your mind, because we're going to play with those again. So there are 4 dimensions of ideas: innovation, invention, improvement, and irrelevant category. So when you start looking at innovation, this is a new idea that finds mass market appeal. In other words, something that people say, wow, that's incredible. I really like that idea. When cell phones came out, it was very simple. It was a wow thing, right? Because you could suddenly have a cell phone, and you could speak from anywhere. Yes, it was the size of a brick. Yes, initially it was very difficult to speak on these things because there weren't any cell phone towers. I worked in Pretoria at the time, and there were probably about 3 places in the whole of Pretoria that you could speak on the cell phone. And people laughed and scoffed at them. But very soon, as the towers grew, as the network grew, there was mass market appeal in that. An invention is different to innovation. An invention is a new idea that has already found its place in the market. The market has accepted it. The market is saying, yes, we like this idea. So you could argue it's an innovation that's been around for a while, becomes an invention. An improvement again is when we took the cell phones and we said, what about we put something on there where you don't have to phone people, but you can send them a message, a text message. And then further improvements took place when things like Mixed came out, WhatsApp came out, and all the other different things that we have communicating. And now the joke is we've actually come to full circle. So we don't call people anymore. We send them voice messages over WhatsApp, and we have a conversation that way. Also, unfortunately, within these different ideas is the irrelevant category. That's a category that you have this idea, but the market is just not interested. The market says, no, thank you. It's not something that we're going to do. It's not something that we want to buy. And it becomes an irrelevant. The idea is degenerated into the irrelevant category. There's also some bizarre inventions that nobody thought would do anything, but eventually there's a bit of appeal there. I don't know if you guys know the mood rings. It's a ring that you put on, and as your body temperature changes, it changes colors. And in theory, then, depending on the color of the ring, it tells you what your mood is. Actually got nothing to do with your mood. It's simply just your body temperature, fluctuations in body temperature. Because of small fluctuations in the body temperature and because of environmental things, the color of the ring changes. But it has appeal because, hey, see, the ring has gone all purple. Oh, wow, why is your ring so green? So there is, and that's a bit of a more bizarre thing. It doesn't really do anything. If you think of the slinky, that long spring thing that you can flip over that we all played with, even I played with as a kid. Remember, I'm much older than you. And slinkies, even today, you can buy them in many toy shops. So they don't do anything, but there's market appeal in them. So when we look at these different ideas, we need to keep in mind that opportunities do not just suddenly the light bulb moment you see that people talk about, that ping and bang, I've got this idea. It might be the initial thought, but this idea that there's an inventor that has this ping moment and there the product is and they know exactly, it does happen very, very seldomly though, that there's this complete fully formed idea is not realistic. Most well-known inventions, most things that people work with take a long time to work with, to work on. They require collaboration between various people, and it's something that over time becomes a product. In many cases, the product is launched as almost a pre-product, and collaboration takes place. And as collaboration takes place, the product becomes better and better, and then suddenly one day it becomes mass appeal and people like it. But it's not typically one person that has one day had a bright spark idea. It's a lot of collaboration, a lot of people working together and adding incrementally their ideas into it. If you look at, if I go back to my idea about a cell phone, if you listen to what I said originally about the cell phone being just simply something that you could use occasionally to phone, and you take your cell phone and you go look at the things you can do with a cell phone. I mean, you guys probably don't do much DIY, but one of the favorite things about my cell phone is I've got a level on it, an app that has a level, so I can see if a fridge is level, or if I'm busy cutting a piece of wood, I can check, is it straight? Whoever thought you'd be able to use a cell phone for that? But it has been so many different ideas that have been added to the original idea. So, okay, so now we need to come up with an idea. We want to start a business, we're keen. So what are the different strategies or that we can use to generate some ideas? So I'm going to give you 7 of them. There's other techniques as well that we'll talk about, but there's a difference between a strategy and a technique. So a strategy is a way of starting to come up with an idea. A technique is a process, a system. So first strategy you can use is analytical strategies. You can go sit down and go think and talk and collaborate with people about how products that already exist can be analyzed, can be taken apart and put together again to become a better idea. How can we take these products? How do we improve these products? How do we make them better? How do they serve dual purposes? Or how do they simply just do the job much better? Search strategies. So all of us have got a certain amount of experience. Some have more, some have less. Some have more in a specific field, some have less. Take those past experiences that you have and start looking at all your past experiences and look at where are the linkages between these experiences. And when you find a linkage, is there a problem that we can solve? Is there something we can do to fix that? The next one is coming closer to that light bulb moment, not the bang, there's a complete idea, but that light bulb moment of having a idea, a sparkling thing that you can say, "Ooh, well, that's an idea. How can I take this? How can I explore it? How can I build on this?" And this is your imagine-based strategies. And they talk about creating unrealistic states. This is where you start thinking about things just totally weird, crazy ideas, right? Mad things. Um, Cars that run on water. Well, why would we have a car? Why don't we let the thing fly, right? Why just fly? Why don't we hyperlink it? And it goes, disappears here and it appears in the next city where you want to be. And you start thinking about these crazy things. And from these, you start thinking, but hang on, this is not a bad idea. We can actually realistically get to something here. We can actually make this part of this crazy idea, we could actually make this work. And that's why the imagine-based idea or imagine-based strategy is something that people can use. And of course, within that, you can use techniques like brainstorming and so on. Okay, habit-breaking strategies. We have certain ways that we do things. For example, the way in which we make coffee, going back to that idea. Why should we stick to that habit? Let's look at something, a different way to do it. A thing that we can change. For example, if a car's tire is flat, then what you do is you take the tire off, the wheel off, and you put a new wheel on. That's how we fix a flat tire. Why not invent a tire that you can drive on while it is flat? Can't go very fast, can't go very far, but at least you're not stuck in a dangerous situation. Boom, flat run tire developed. Ideas thought out. Break the standard way of doing things. Do it differently. Relationship seeking strategies is similar to search strategies, except here you're taking links between ideas. If you've got this idea and you've got that idea, can we merge this into one? Can we make that thing do this thing as well? And if you simply think about the modern food processor, you get these things where it's got a liquidizer on top, it's got a mixer, it's got a dough hook, it can do a whole lot of things. It can mince meat, it can do all types of interesting things. Those all used to be separate appliances, and somebody sit back, and I'm trying to remember the name of the thing. It's not a Mulinex. In any case, I'll come up with a name later. Somebody sat back and said, why do we need 10 kitchen appliances? Why don't we put all of these things in one? Taking different ideas, putting them into one. Development strategies, once again, modifying an existing idea. Saying, look, we don't want to change, in essence, what this thing does. What we do want to see is how can we make it do it differently. And then the last one is the interpersonal strategies. This is where you work as a group and you're feeding off each other's ideas to try to build something better, bigger, faster. And sometimes people will take an idea of something that does a specific job and let's make it do this job better. Sometimes we'll say, let's take your idea and we bounce a new idea and we build on this and eventually you end up with something completely different than where you started with the original idea, because you've been playing off each other's ideas and trying to look at how we can do different things and how we can play around until we get something that's just simply so much better. So I want to look at the pathways to opportunity identification. So I'm glad that you guys are not writing a test or an exam on this, because here is a lot of technical jargon. So this is the strategies. Here are the pathways. And then obviously then in a test and exam, if we were writing those, you'd have to remember, oh, is this a strategy or a pathway? So pathways to opportunity identification. Firstly, find, then search, then effectuate, and then design. Not a process, 4 different pathways, 4 different ways that you can use any of these previous things to get to a place where you can come up with new ideas. So finding is the least complicated. There is an idea out there. There's something that can be made. And this idea, you must remember, it's there, it exists. The entrepreneur must simply find it. Typically, it's something that fixes a problem that most people know. So it's a common problem. We all have the problem. The entrepreneur simply has to ID the problem, or the solution at least. Sorry, not the problem. We know the problem, and then needs to do something. I'm going to give you a very simple example. You're sitting at a table outside. You want to eat outside. It's a lovely summer day, and you put a tablecloth over the table, and the wind's blowing. It keeps blowing the tablecloth up onto the table, possibly onto your food, might bump over some drinks. Very irritating. Simple idea. Add weights to the corners. Create something that you can clip onto the corners. It's a product. You can buy these products out there. Some of you might not have been exposed to it before, but these things happen as you get older. But yeah, tablecloth weights. It's a known problem that some guys said, but let's solve the problem. Let's do something about it. Let's find a solution. And that's the simplest way of finding an opportunity. Search. You're an entrepreneur, you want to do something, but you don't know what. So you've got to go search out for opportunities. Once again, interlinked, search, find, interlinked. I'll give you that. But when you follow a searching pathway, you're looking at, what is my knowledge base? What do I know about? What can I address within the stuff I know? You might have a hobby, and in that hobby, there might be something that you can do. I had a student years ago that was in the early days of drones, he flew drones. And as one does, you crash your drone. And he crashed his drone. And then he started finding out, what does it cost to the replacement parts for drones? What do they cost? And he found out they're damn expensive, almost to the extent you can almost buy a new drone for that price. And then he said, hang on, this is local price. And he started looking around, and he ended up importing parts for drones, building drones himself, repairing drones. He was still a student, and he was flying a massive, I think it was a 2-meter wingspan drone that they were using to film, one of the first proper filming drones that had a gimbal underneath, and they could film for movie studios. But that was because he searched his own knowledge base, something he enjoyed, something he was busy with, a problem he had, a problem he knew. knew a little bit about, and he could then find something from there. Next one, effectuate. And the effectuate idea is it's almost that Nike idea, just do something. So use the skills that you have. Maybe you have got handyman skills or woodworking skills or something like that. Use those skills and see if you can't do something with that. Do you know people? Can you approach people that you know and say, listen, I've got this idea. Can you build me something like this? Can you build a prototype? Or you know something. I've had this idea. You know something about this field. I've got this idea. I've got this little bit of knowledge. Let's put our knowledge together. Let's see what we can do. And then the most complex one is design from scratch. You sort of, people don't know what they don't know. So you find solutions that people don't really understand that they're there, and you then go solve that idea. So we never knew that we needed laptops. As a matter of fact, we never knew that we needed computers, personal computers. Even better, we never even knew that we needed electrical typewriters. So all of those are things that people came up with to solve an unidentified need, a need that we didn't even know about, that we weren't even aware of. So, guys, I'm going to leave it here now. I'm going to take the ideate idea, and I'm going to make a separate recording of that that I'll release, because I want to deal with ideate in a different manner. So I'll make a separate recording and upload that in the next, probably sometime over the weekend. I'll upload that for you to listen to. Because ideate, and there's a couple of other issues that are actually used in the assignment, and I specifically want to address those issues. If you have any questions, please feel free, drop me an email and ask me your questions. I'm happy to answer them. I look forward to interacting with you during the semester, and I look forward to you really enjoying and learning and applying the stuff that you've learned over the past couple of years during the semester. Thank you so much. Keep well. Bye-bye.